and Sinn Féin President Derry have met and formed a peace and reconciliation.
Borders were always funny to me, you know. A man draws a line in the sand and says, "This is mine. This is me, and you're a threat to what I have." Roll the world out, and these lines are fine and delicate. Touch the ground around them with your soul, and they become much more than just lines on paper. These people acting under some delusion of divine right. Others hiding from what's left set and place a dispute that loves and grows of its own inhabitants and citizens. And there's us. Have they forgotten about us? Do they know about us? Are they told about us? It's 20 years of peace. It's a generation.
My friends would be saying, "Oh, is it not mad up there? It's not mad." I'm like, "No, not really." But they'd be all, "Oh, there's bombings here and there's bomb scares there, and you can't go into certain areas." And I'd be like, "Ah, but it's just normal. You've been brought up with, so you don't know any differently."
Nearly molded and folded to fit normality. What's it mean to be normal? Not to argue, not to quarrel. To nod at the plainness of lies and shit the fabricated statement from those up high.
I remember years ago I was going with a Protestant girl, and my dad kind of like made a joke, was like, "What are you doing?" As if it was like bad. He was like, "Catch us on." I was like, "What do you mean?" Who cares? She's meant.
I just think he's that way inclined. I don't know what it means when people say that. Can you really not be ours to find the time? See things from my perspective.
Where are you from? Derry. Where's that? And then, I mean, you're trying to explain them. You could name them everywhere in Derry. No, they don't know. And then it's like, "Oh, do you mean London, Derry?"
I just think he's that way inclined.
I would call it Derry, but some people call it Londonderry. But you kind of, depending on who you run into, you're kind of warned not to say Derry or Londonderry. Sometimes people maybe say you're from Strabane or somewhere that's mixed, just so people don't know where you are, because you get some people that would kind of challenge you then, and I try and avoid it. Just
so especially if you're away, like say if you're like in Belfast or something, if you say where you're from, like Derry, they will try to correct you saying you're not from London, Derry. You know, like that there.
Fight or start an argument out of it too. You're better just trying to avoid it.
You basically say, "So where you from, Derry?" You would assume that they're like of a Republican background, where if someone says Londonderry, they're a loyalist or unionist kind of background.
I had no real concept growing up. I grew up outside the town. My mother and father, my mother's half Protestant. I have family that was in British Army. I have relatives that were in loyalist paramilitaries. And then my dad's side were the complete opposite. We had people who fought under De Valera, Collins, stuff like that there. So my dad kept me away from that stuff. Even as simple as I remember wanting a Celtic top because my cousin had one. My dad didn't want, he wouldn't let me have one because my best friend's mother was a Protestant and I'd be in her house every day. But like, I don't know that stuff and I don't not know it, you know what I mean? I grew up with prayers in class every day. I didn't know what was right or what was wrong with it.
Those hills and mountains that you can see in the background is the hills of Donegal, which is in southern Ireland. So this river here, the River Foyle, it divides the north and the south. This is the famous city that is known all over the world for its riots and what have you. The left, the river here is the west bank. It's mainly Catholic, and to the right of the river is the east bank, it's mainly Protestant.
Growing up in Derry, I was a child of the Good Friday Agreement, so you grew up after a majority of the fighting. Because we weren't alive in the midst of it like our parents were and seeing brutality of it and the mad loss and hardship that came with it, you're not fully immersed and affected by it, but you are. Trauma is intergenerational. It doesn't just end with that one person or that one generation, it passes through. You can still massively see the scars in the city and the north.
You had the Good Friday Agreement. You have a lot of people who disagreed with it, which is understandable because power sharing agreement doesn't work. And that's why it's collapsed, and it's collapsed several times. At the end of it, nobody actually knows what they're fighting for. We weren't there when it started, but we're here and we're still fighting for it. And it's like, well, is it helping you? Is it helping your family? Is it helping your wages? Is it helping your children? Is it putting food in your mouth? Is it keeping you warm in the winter?
Look at the state of your socks. They're minging. They're minging. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a panda.
It is a panda. Growing up in Derry, I guess you're just always aware that this is a really small place. It looks like ice cream. We were those kids that sat at like the back corner of the canteen and talking about how we hated this town and how we were going to get out of it.
Well,
Is that your name on the wall? Yes. We knew that our friends were going to mean a lot to just kind of stick together. It amazes me that, we're nearly in 2020 and I've had friends and close family who couldn't be married here. So what we all did was drove like 20 minutes over the border, had a beautiful wedding, and then to drive 20 minutes back to your home and your own marriage isn't recognized. It amazes me. I could have walked that. I could have walked that distance, and you're telling me that gay marriage is illegal here.
People say that, say things like LGBT rights and abortion rights in Derry and the North in general, it was so halted because of the Troubles. Everything, at the time, everyone was focused on the Troubles, so that's why I think that we are so backwards, because we were on pause because of all the chaos that was going on, which I think is a really sad thing.
You have this, again, Christian democratic wall, and you have English politicians trying to keep them sweet. And it's keeping everybody else inside here essentially fucked, because you have workers' rights, and you have human rights, and you have women's healthcare rights, all going to, going with the wind.
This is your country, and this is your homeland, but you're not sharing the same rights as everybody else here. But that kind of, again, just feeds into the whole Northern Irish condition in a way. You're, in the eyes of down south, you're not seen a lot of the time as fully Irish. You're not seen as British by everybody across the water. So it's this weird kind of dichotomy of identity in a way.
And you had people like Theresa May, who voted at the time for same-sex marriage in England, voted against it in Northern Ireland, because she says they're not ready for it.
Hope and strength was growing so much more for abortion rights and equal marriage throughout the summer, but there was still that kind of fear of something, of it just being pulled away from us in the last second.
2 weeks ago, on the 21st of October, the decriminalisation of abortion and the legalisation of same-sex marriage was passed in the North. This is absolutely huge. something people have been campaigning for literally decades. For so many people now, people, you know, younger, like my young siblings too, they'll just grow up in a better Ireland, and that really makes me really proud that I was part of it.
I think that like there is a feeling around the town. Something's about to happen or something with that excitement, and like you can't even put it into words. The 21st, you felt it. It was just amazing.
Thinking of getting a mechanical wheelchair, be handy for the shopping, sure I'll hardly pay for that. I have a TV in every room, my son has two so I can watch the match and play FIFA.
You could knock on any door on that street and it would be the same thing. The door would be swung open, you would be welcomed in. That's what I really like about Derry. That's what makes me happy that I'm going to raise my son here, is that he's going to get a chance at community and family.
A lot of people, they don't want to repeat history here, do you know what I mean? Of course not. So I hope Brexit doesn't affect it, because it's a whole like shit show. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's a whole shit show, and I don't want that to ruin everything that we've like done so far, do you know what I mean?
There's always like a fear of like, there's a fear of Brexit because there's a fear of the unknown. What's going to happen? So, is there going to be a border? Is there going to be checks?
Like, we're against that air, and it was poking the fire. I think we're safe now because we know that there isn't going to be a hard border. But for a long time, and I think that's what's built up dissident activity, even the loyalist side, you can see them coming back. And like, it's as simple as you put anything in that border, anything at all, it's going to be attacked. It's going to be put down.
You put a fence up, you're going to have to somebody to guard that fence. You're going to have guards to guard the guards. Border.
That's what you get. And when you get that air, you get boys with stones. Boys with stones are going to get hit. And boys with stones are going to get hit. You're going to hit back. Boys hit you back. You're going to shoot. You're going to shoot back. It's that simple. You're 2-3 feet away from starting up what was finished in '98.
It just makes me think back to last Christmas. There was a Republican paramilitary group that came out and said that they had stopped and hijacked a load of like delivery cars and like forced the workers out of it and had planted explosive devices all around the town. This was just leading up to Christmas. There was an explosion just outside the courthouse. Obviously that's something that really strikes a chord with all of the older generations, like people that I was working with, like the chef in the cafe I was working with, Viv. Like, she was in absolute bits. She was terrified. She just kept on saying to herself, no, not this again, not this again.
I mean, you even have the Prime Minister now, Boris Johnson. His father said, he said that there was never a border in Northern Ireland. For someone that ignorant, you know he didn't cross that border because, you know he didn't get checked every day. You know, you had 30,000 people every day getting stopped, going to work, going to church, visiting families. Jesus. No, nobody wants that, and it can only bring back the trouble.
You can see that their tensions are rising because of uncertainty around Brexit, like what that's going to mean for our lives, for like, you know, the economy here. And really, it's sort of like our sense of autonomy as well. Like, we don't have a government at the minute. Our opinion on Brexit and our situation doesn't really seem to be appreciated or respected.
We were born in the 90s. We were born through the Celtic Tiger, the economic boom in the south. The UK wasn't doing so bad neither, so Derry had all this influx of wealth and jobs, and then you had the internet at the same time coming through. You had this pop culture. So we grew up with very different beliefs. We're now in our 20s. I'm 25, Lorcan's 26, and we're no further on in life than when we were younger. So it brings on this depression. We have moved a long way forward when it comes to the stigma, like we can talk about it. But once you say I'm depressed, there's really, I mean, what next? I mean, there's not enough put in place for us to go and do something about it. If you look at small town Ireland and border towns like St Johnstone, Newton, Cunningham, these are small population of youth, and they're disappearing. And it's not like 10, 15 years ago where they were taken by Canada and Australia Boston and London, they're taken by like the Foyle Bridge and the rope and drugs. This is what's taking away our youth at the minute.
I never would have talked about anything when I was younger. Like you're kind of told, oh, you're a fella, just harden up, toughen up, don't be chatting about it. And it affects you whenever you kind of hold things in. So even if you're chatting to your barber or your tattooist or whatever, talking about it does help. Like,
definitely. My brother lost his life to mental health. Like, 3 years ago now it was. He was just having the same problems. Like didn't talk. Like he did talk when he was younger, but then it happened again. Then like just didn't go the right way. And like.
I would see that's what you think maybe if they have a bit of help or a bit of someone just to chat there or check up on them more. You don't know. It's a hard one. Like.
Right, up there. Good boy.
What are you doing?
We're gonna do our spooky skeleton makeup. Can I hold this for a second? No? Okay.
I have the bubble time. Look at my makeup.
Here, you do this makeup.
No, I do that makeup.
There we go. Oh, you're beautiful.
Ooh. I want to get some.
Close your eyes.
Do my nose.
Good boy. Stand very still. We're nearly done. Does it tickle?
Look at a ghost now.
You're a ghost now. Whoa. I am worried about Callow's future. I'm worried that I'm going to have to baptise him to get him somewhere where I want him to be, you know, what we would call a good school. I'm worried that he's going to get in fights at school, sectarian fights that you hear about when we were growing up. So-and-so was jumped because he walked down so-and-so street. It does worry me.
That's the fear. The fear is that people keep on these traditions and that they block out a common interest. And my hopes is definitely for this common interest to come together. People to realise that we should be looking out for each other. What I love from a Catholic to a Protestant community, sometimes 3-minute walk, to be honest. I mean, we all have the same problems. You know what I mean? We all work. We all have problems at work. Our children all go to school. So when we come together, why can't they go to school together? Why can't we work together? And the problems that we face every day with employers, big business, and the government, why are we fighting each other? Because that's a sad man's game.
Wow.
What's that?
It's a Ferris wheel. And what does the fire engine say? Nina, Nina.
With our generation kind of having a bit of power now in Derry, I think that's going to mean for Callow that he is going to have a bright future. I think he's going to do okay. Yeah, I think he's going to be just fine.
Look up there.
There's a real solidarity. And Derry, Lurgan, he always said to me, if you say that there's nothing there, it means you're not looking hard enough. And there's so much stuff in Derry that people say isn't there. You know what I mean? There's nothing here, I need to go. No, you're not looking hard enough, it's here.
We're gonna get to see the whole of the town. Maybe we'll even see Granny's house.
You can have a happy life here. You can have a brilliant life here, a thriving life here, but you have to look for it. And it works both sides. I mean, you're losing so much of your young people in many different ways. Give them a reason to be here.
Wow. Hi, Nanny.
I couldn't wait to get out of Derry. Moving away, there is a culture shock. And I know, we're not that far away. But Jesus, when you're there and you're on your own, you might as well be the other side of the world.
What have you got to say?
Full of words that I use the best I can will get me nowhere, but that's the kind of man I am. Paragraph and sentences, alcohol percentages, read within the lines, and about on the meaningfulness of what it means to be us. Be someone else, not dependent on the boss. Big head from A to W. When you find the wise up, there's only X, Y, and Z left. I'm on a breath, I'm beating my stress. True life, a test block for. What should I care? It's not like I passed anyway, or will any other day. The bad news you got was waking up and realizing that I'm still here. And it's got up deep and there's no new fucking day. Knocking at the beat. Fuck's sake, knocking at the beat. Fuck's sake, knocking at the beat. Fuck's sake, knocking at the beat. The flag is down. Knocking at the beat. Fuck's sake, knocking at the beat. Fuck's sake, knock it! Ah, fuck off, you cunt! Going knocked to the cap, shot me to percent. Me to stand burn the hole up in my gun. So I knocked on the cap, shot me to percent. Me to stand burn the hole up in.